Salutations, utopians. Good day. A little bit late on this topic, but I've been fact gathering for this. Um, Talk a little bit about the Clippers and their struggles right now with attendance. They're ranked 24th in the NBA. 24th in the NBA, 27th. Basically, lower bottom half in the league in attendance. Um, Despite being in this new Intuit Dome, and it raises concerns. This first all started from the conversation from Paul George, and he basically calling the Clippers or clearing up the fact that people are interpreting. He said that they're the B team, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Though they have culturally been, extremely meaningful to the NBA history. Lob City, whether it be the Darius Mile, Lamar Odom headband edition on Slam magazine. Fast forward to Lob City. Um, the Clippers have always found a way, and a team that oftentimes gets forgotten about. Baron Davis, Elton Brand, Chris Kaman, nucleus. Uh, in terms of pure basketball, if only Elton Brand would have re-signed instead of going to Philadelphia. Teams don't realize how destined for greatness that Clippers team was. But I used to be really hopeful for the Clippers, but seeing this Into a Dome move and thinking like this new stadium, them taking over the old stomping grounds of where the Lakers used to play when they were in the Forum, um, it just kind of like you can't help but wonder what if Ballmer did just take the team instead of trying to make good on his word. What if he did just take the team and have went to Seattle and the Lakers renamed the South Bay Lakers to the Los Angeles Clippers to at least reserve some semblance of history, right? Um, so we don't forget because they do hold meaning and they do need to be remembered in some way. But this is just saying working. Keynote from his take on his podcast, he said, when you go to the Clippers, they're like, why didn't you go to the Lakers? And I've never seen this kind of dynamic before where you don't have a star marquee name and you go make a new stadium. I just don't like. I know they didn't think Kawhi was that reliable. You're going to bet an entire stadium, and I for so long have been thinking that maybe they've reserved Kawhi, trying to hold him back to ensure that he'll be ready when the stadium is here. But it's like again more optimism than actual reality. You know, to be in the bottom half of the league in attendance when you know how big LA County is, there's 88 official cities in LA County. There's 500 neighborhoods. So, and I was reading up, people are complaining about the cost of parking. They have shuttle services that sprawl throughout LA County. Union Station, which is downtown, Pierce, the Valley, Expo Line shuttles, which is like El Monte, East LA. Harbor City is like South Bay, and Expo is also kind of like LA. Uh, like just depending on what part. LA is so big, you could literally say mid LA, and it can be 3 or 4 different spots in the city. Culver City could be, which is I think what they mean with Expo Line. But there's shuttle services, so people don't have to pay for parking. And so when you see this unravel, it's like Harden's averaging a triple double almost, and yet when he moved into second all time, there was 4,000 people in attendance to the game. For a stadium that brand new, and LA real estate's expensive. They're right now as constructed. If the playoffs began tomorrow, they would be included. And so for me, it's like I like what they did. I definitely think you can't argue they sold high, like they were supposed to on Paul George. But where's the punchline here? Where's going to be your box office superstar? Because here's the problem. It would be one thing if James Harden came to the Clippers when he had left, when it would have been one thing when James Harden came to the Clippers when he left OKC. You can't, I get he's a local hero. Don't get me wrong. Growing up Audubon in the 90s, people don't understand how legendary it is to make him one of the highest paid players of all time. And he went to Audubon. That's a serious accomplishment. Audubon is no joke. And I'll just leave it at that. But when I'm looking at this, I'm like, he wasn't here during his prime. He went to Houston. If Clippers were located in Houston, maybe this would have more sentimental meaning. Them getting him in the twilight of his career after the PR nightmare in New York, in New Jersey, Brooklyn, and Philly. I mean, what exactly? And they just beat Philly yesterday, a team that's so battered and bruised right now. But what exactly are the Clippers thinking doing all this? It's like the pride before the fall or something. Like, no, I'm going to take on the Lakers. It's almost like now some type of quasi merger needs to happen in order to fix all this madness. Like the Lakers should go to the into a dome. Ballmer should sell the Clippers, and he should help Jeannie Buss, who right now is the lowest in wealth, I think, on the scale. And the Lakers have gone nothing but slide. They're now 11th in attendance in the NBA, by the way. And so it's just kind of crazy um, seeing this because it's like, what are you guys going to do? At the very minimum, go get Alonzo Ball, something. You know what I mean? You have to get a player there. Zach LaVine went to UCLA. He plays an entertaining brand of basketball, and he's looking like he's healthy. They got to do something. It's not just enough to win games. And I like Kai Jones above the rim style. I like uh, 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 you know, they got some athletes. They got Kai Jones. They got KCP. Uh, they got. I want to say they're not giving minutes to Bones Highland, which is my other problem. Bones Highland is a social media sensation. He could garner a lot of social media clips. He's made some comments about the Nuggets. You could conjure up a little social media beef if you wanted to get in the headlines. I don't know, which I'm not into that stuff, but if you're the Clippers, the point is you got to get the foot on the pedal here. Okay? Norman Powell is getting minutes over him. Look, I know that's Kawhi's guy, and maybe when Kawhi comes back, the attendance will be better. I don't know if he's that much of a mainstream draw. You know what I mean? The people don't have confidence. We're going to come in here and play 2, 3 games and expect, the fans are going to hold their breath every time. I don't know if they're waiting for that, but if you think you can hold on until the Olympics to finally make something happen, that's going to be very scary. I don't know how you can, with that real estate cost, assume that. I don't care how wealthy Steve Ballmer is, and they said he's more wealthier than 27 of the owners in the NBA. This is kind of scary. You know what I mean? Because there's no solution in sight, and I don't know what the blueprint plans were that they gave the league to make them think this was a good idea, but pretty soon they're going to need to be asking the Lakers to play in there in order to make up for the hemorrhaging of loss financially at this rate. Um, Microsoft is doing well for themselves in sales. I hear that they're climbing up their computers are bridging the gap on Apple now. But from a perspective of NBA, I don't, this is where are they going to get where are they going to get uh, the support from at this point, at this rate? Um, I really hope they go out and get Lonzo or somebody like that from the Bulls. At least if they're not going to get Zach LaVine, they got to keep adding, because losing Westbrook, losing Paul George, getting rid of Paul George was smart. Okay, fine, I could see why you do that, but what's the next step here? Because and then when you look at the pending free agents next season, like nobody's coming to save them, in the near future, and they don't have necessarily the most pawnable assets at this point to go out and accumulate. They're still paying OKC. I think last year was the last pick of that. So, but who are you going to go and replenish this with now at this point? Because their times are ticking, and the more the fans see that lack of activity, the more it becomes like, oh, forget about them. I'm concerned. I just wanted to put my stuff out there on the record. I don't know who's going to save this team. I'll try to do better next time. Utopians Global out.